Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of Let's Go to the Record Store. It's a beautiful day outside. It's actually a Monday. Here in the US, it is a holiday week for Thanksgiving, so I am off. You guys know what I like to do when I am off. I like to hit up record stores. So first one on my agenda is Princeton Record Exchange. I've been here before so many times. So much good stuff always comes out of this store. I love hitting it up. Never know what I'm going to find, and that's how I feel today. But it seems like in the fall, at this time of year, it is always a really good time for whatever reason. Always make some good scores. So I'm really looking forward to getting in there today, seeing what we can find. So why don't you guys come along and let's go to the record store. All right, so here we are at the new arrival section. My favorite place to start when I come in here. You never know what you're gonna find in this place, and I'll always end up making a few cool scores. So let's dig in and see what we're finding today. Got some classic Alice Cooper here with Billion Dollar Babies. Can never go wrong with that album. Crazy Horse Loose. Always love it when these guys make their own albums separate from Neil. I think he does appear on one of the songs here, but it's a great album. God, I love Cinderella, Long Cold Winter. Wish they'd make more material. I do love the stuff from the lead singer, man. I mean, he makes great albums and they sound like Cinderella, but come on, man. There is nothing like the band Cinderella when they're together rocking out. I'm pretty sure I've shown you guys this one before, Copperhead. This was like 1992, I think it was. One of the last great Southern rock bands, in my opinion. Just kind of came and went under the radar. Highly recommend this. If you've never checked this album out, it is definitely worth checking out. So here's the Donnas Get Skin Tight. I had recently gotten into them. This is one of the ones that Anthony didn't have over at Sound Exchange, so very cool. Glad I found it here. Dokken, Under Lock and Key, man. Truly is a flashback. Who doesn't love Dokken? I mean, come on. Rockin' with Dokken. The Fix, Beautiful Friction, back from 2012, I think it was. Great underrated album from the band, and unfortunately today they're kind of underrated. They were big back in the 80s, maybe even very early 90s, but really haven't hung on to that, unfortunately. Just such a great band. All right, not necessarily the biggest Fabulous Thunderbirds fan, although I do have one of their albums, a best of, but Butt Rockin'? Come on, what kind of title is that? Got a couple Rory Gallagher albums here. Deuce, Remastered, Rediscovered, and then also this one here, Calling Card. I know a lot of you guys are big Rory Gallagher fans, but $5.99 a pop, how cool is that? Man, look at this, debut House of Lords album in here. $5.99, what a great deal for that one. Another band still going today. Got a couple of cool Iron Butterflies here, Ball, and they've even got Metamorphosis on CD too. How cool is that? Here's a rare one, James Gang, Passing Through, man. If I didn't already have this one on CD, I'd be snapping it up in a heartbeat. That is an excellent price for this one. This is post Joe Walsh, but I definitely still like the band a lot. Okay, a Nicolette Larson solo album. Like the cover. That's on Wounded Bird. I always like what they do. 1982. I know her as an actress. I don't know her as a singer. I'm going to have to check out the music and see what this sounds like. This is latest Midnight Oil, Resist. I didn't really dig it when it first came out, but I have to say, in the last few weeks, I was listening to this and it really finally started to move me. And now I'm loving this album. Here's an interesting one. Midnight Oil says it's sound engineer Mark Wood's The Desk Tape series. I don't know if this is official or not, but I got to look into this. I'm a huge Midnight Oil fan, as I was talking about earlier. So if this is something official and it's from their sound engineer in '82, and now maybe he's starting to release archival albums, how cool is that? More Aldo Nova here. Portrait. This was a best of. Doesn't include his fourth and sort of final album, although I take that back. He made an instrumental one in the 90s, and he has made a new one, although it's only come out as a 10-song EP so far, but was supposed to be a double album, and maybe one day we'll see the whole thing. Here's a really cool one I haven't seen before. Best of Oz, some sort of Japanese best of edition. Doesn't really matter if I've got all the tracks or not. For $5.99, I think I'm definitely picking this one up. Man, I love seeing ones like these. Sausage. Original lineup of Primus got back together and made this album separate from the band Primus at the time. And such a great album, underrated, but definitely deserves to sit alongside all the other Primus albums. I love these old classic 70s album covers. There's just nothing like them. I don't feel like they make album covers like these anymore. Got a solo album here from Grace Slick, Manhole. That's a cool find. Don't see that one every day. A little bit of Tangerine Dream here, a live album. This is one of those bands that took me a long time to get into, but with the whole synthwave stuff and everything, I've definitely been digging back into this band's catalog and really surprisingly enjoying so much of it. Here's one of the best AOR melodic rock bands, Toto, for their classic with Africa on here and Rosanna. Underrated Udo album here, Man and Machine, lead singer from Accept there, doing his own thing, and he's still doing it today, man, doing it better than anyone. I actually like the band Udo better than Accept. I mean, Accept is great, but I think Udo, the band, is quite up there with some of the greats in metal. Classic Joe Walsh, but serious, folks. This was the first album I had on vinyl, back when vinyl was cheap, 10 for a buck kind of a thing. But really turned me on to him, and then of course the Eagles got back together, and the rest is history there, and I've explored his whole catalog, but still love this album to this day. I will never not love this album, Warrant Cherry Pie. I don't care how cheesy that song may be on here. I absolutely love this thing. Check this one out. Blue Cheer, The Beast is Back. That's a cool one. I don't think I've ever seen that album cover. Randy California of Spirit doing a solo album here. This one here was a pretty good one too. I like this. Still looking for it on CD for me. Oh, this one is one you don't see very often. The band Fanny and their second album, Cherry Ball. I don't know if this is original or the reissue. I think it might be the original, but that's very cool on Reprise Records. And we got Classic Jefferson Airplane Reunion album, the last one they would make together and the last thing that Grace Slick would do before retiring. Here's a cool solo album from Ray Manzarek of The Doors, doing a version of the opera Carmina Burana. Great 80s alt-rock band, the Plimsouls, like them, do have this one on CD, so I don't need it on vinyl, but highly recommend checking them out. If you've never heard the Plimsouls, they're really good. Here's a killer one out of the 70s, Ram Jam with Black Betty. How cool is that? I wish this one would just get a straight CD reissue. I mean, I think there's been one in the past, but it's out of print, so hard to come by. But this band, man, really rocked it up right. All right, guys, so I'm back from Princeton, New Jersey. The record exchange there, it is awesome. Huge bag of loot is the best way to leave if you ask me. 21 CDs in here. I scored big. Now, I also got some for my car. If you guys know or watch my channel, then you know I've got a CD player in the car, and I don't like to take the collections off the wall, so I have a dedicated one for the car. So just real quick, I got NXS Kick, just albums that I love inside and out and can listen to all the time. I got the Mick Jagger album, Wandering Spirit, the debut Damn Yankees. I already had the second one in the car. I don't have a lot of metal in the car, so I picked up Suicidal Tendencies, The Art of Rebellion, Alice Cooper. This is Last Temptation. I think this is a great album. It's just so underrated. And Yes, Union. And I know a lot of these albums are not the big popular ones, but they're ones that I grew up with that I like, so I got those. I'm very excited. And all of them were like $1.99 or so. Pricing at Princeton Record Exchange is amazing. The only thing I actually hate is that I got to go peel that off. Then I've got to peel this one off, and not on this one, but sometimes they put them on the inside or they're on the back, and it's like I had to spend the first hour peeling all that stuff off. All right, but the stuff that I got that was the creme de la creme, the cool stuff, the new stuff, I should say, you know, not just replacing stuff. 21 CDs. And I did very good on all of this. So, I mean, even with this, 20, the 6 that are here, the 21 that are there. So what is that, 27? I came in right at $100. So I did pretty good. And some of this stuff is new. All right, no particular order. Rod Argent, solo album from him. I think this is from the mid 80s. If I saw date 88 on here, right? Talked to you guys about that during the show, if you will. Paul McCartney, Tug of War. I've got the latest one that's a reissue, but it's actually a remix. And so I wanted to get the original copy of it without the remix. This was very cool find. James Gang, Bang. This is without Joe Walsh in it, but we've got Tommy Bolin. And I have a copy of this that I picked up off eBay, but I'm pretty sure it is a boot. This one here, definitely official Atco Records release. I've been on a big Better Than Ezra kick, so I picked this one up, How Does Your Garden Grow, which is actually my least favorite, but I don't have it in the collection. I wanted to put it back in. $1.99. So I'm going to give it a new listen now. I probably have not listened to that since the mid to late 90s when that came out. So I'm going to see. Maybe now it's going to work for me. The one Brother Kane album I didn't have, Seeds, I finally got it. $1.99, so I mean, doing so good. I've been on a whole kind of alternative rock kick and, middle 90s era rock songs and stuff like that. I found Hal Bachman, Randy Bachman's son, doing She's So High. Do you remember that song? One and only solo album from him. Now, I almost picked this up brand new, spending 15 to 20 bucks or whatever on it. I'm so glad I waited because I found Midnight Oil, Essential Oils for $3.99, a 2 CD set. I have the whole collection. I don't need it. It's just, again, a different way for me to hear it. I can pop that on. It's like this next one. The Wallflowers, I've been digging into Wallflowers. This is called Collected, $1.99. It's a best of. I didn't want to spend the full price on it. The last U2 jewel case edition that I didn't have in my collection, I have a deluxe edition of this that's in a box set. So it goes on the wall with all of these guys, but I want to have my jewel case edition. U2 Under the Blood Red Sky, the live album. Obviously, with the latest U2 release of How to Disassemble an Atomic Bomb and the Reassembling of an Atomic Bomb LP, I've been way into that. Recently got into Semisonic and I found this Pleasure EP. It's got 7 tracks on it. Didn't even know they had an EP out. Again, $1.99. So I mean, how can you not? Midnight Oil has some EPs, and one of them I didn't have was this one here. Also $1.99. Species Deceashes. I'm saying that right. Okay, this one I spent some money on. Urban Verbs, I don't know anything about them except the album came out in 1980. It's on Wounded Bird, pretty much anything Wounded Bird does. Very rare, hard to come by after it goes out of print, goes up in value. I'm sure it's totally worth it. I checked it out and it's kind of new wave-ish 80s sounding rock. And I really dug what I was hearing, so I decided to go ahead and do it. And this one just came out on Friday, November 22nd, 3 CD Thompson Twins, Into the Gap album, which has Hold Me Now, the big hit on it. And I wasn't planning on picking it up, but it was sitting right there in front of me in $20.99 for 3 CDs. I thought was a great deal and totally worth doing. And here's one that I had been eyeing and wanting to pick up, and then Amazon all of a sudden said not available, not going to get released, but it was on a release date. UFO Rarities, and this one's out by Top Disc Music, and I've seen them doing a few of these things, and it's a kind of a strange label, not exactly sure what to make of it, but it's got a bunch of rare stuff. I don't know if this is studio, live, what it is, but UFO, I'm taking it. All right, now these next 2 things are very cool. If you've heard me talk about the band Freeways from Canada, and I don't know if both of these bands are from Canada, but they're on the same label. And when I saw that and the way that it was being promoted, in this case actually showing the Freeways album back here, I said, if these 2 bands are anything like that, then I want it. Mean Mistreater and Toxicol. And I checked them out. These are amazing. So Freeways and these bands here are like traditional metal with a hard rock edge, throwback to the 80s, even a new wave of British heavy metal sounding vibe to them, but they're new bands. And I know this is a debut here. I don't know if this is a debut album. They're a little more expensive because they're imports, but hey, that's just the way that it is. So glad that I got that. And you saw this one right, I don't know if it's going to be at the top of the video. It was one of the first things I found. So I knew the day was going to be good when I found this. Ozzy Osbourne Best of Oz, a Japanese import, still with the OBI strip, for $5.99, 10 tracks, best stuff from his first 4 studio albums, nothing unreleased or anything like that, but I just like to collect any and all releases from my favorite artists, and best ofs, they give me a different way to hear something. I recently had just found the 10 Commandments album, and now I've got this one. So the track listing is actually somewhat different. I would have expected that they're both put out by Sony, his label at the time. I would have thought they would have just been identical under a different name, and I looked it up to confirm, and they are not. This is cool. I have the first one. I've wanted the second one. I haven't come across it before. And for $5.99, Motorhead's Best of Two. I always liked the first one, and this one here extended into the era that was not part of the first one. So it's got the 1916 material, and that's my favorite album from them. And so when I can get some classic stuff along with the newer stuff that I grew up with, that's very cool. Donnas, Get Skin Tight. One of the albums I didn't have from the early era of the Donnas. I don't know if this is the only one I was missing or if there might be one more. I had to check the collection. I was recently building that up. Anthony's always raved about them. And finally it clicked for me. It just took a very long time for that to happen. Godly and Cream Freeze Frame album. The two guys that came from 10cc doing a solo album in 79. And I just recognized the album cover. I know the album cover, don't know anything from it, but I gave it a listen. It's odd, it's unique, it's what you'd expect from these guys, but not just like straight ahead rock. So I'm gonna have fun with that one. And then this one here, I looked up, I checked. Yes, it is an official release. The Midnight Oil live in 82 from Mark Woods as the sound engineer. And it's an official thing. It was released to raise money for the road workers and all that sort of stuff that work on these shows and stuff like that. And Midnight Oil allowed them to put this out. So I went ahead and picked this up. Very glad to get a hold of it. It was a digital only release initially, and then the fans cried out for it, so it got a physical release. And I don't know if any of these other black box recordings from the Desk Tape series got physical releases, but that's why this is. So I had seen it, I knew it was digital, and I'm glad to find out that it's original. And there you go, man, 27 CDs. It was like 101. It was like right at that park. So I did very good. I found some cool stuff. At the time that I'm filming this is at the beginning of my vacation for the Thanksgiving week. I am off the entire time. So I love getting new music that I can just enjoy throughout that. And it's going to kick me off in all kinds of different directions and tangents and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to see where this takes me and what kind of path I go down listening wise, and when I hit other record stores, what I'm going to be in the mood for and all that sort of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed my visit to the record store today. Princeton Record Exchange, always an amazing place. You got to check it out. If you're ever in the area, definitely hit them up in Princeton, New Jersey, Princeton Record Exchange. You can find more information on them online. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.